front page of the Telegraph. Cops in a class war. Now let me explain what this is about. Teachers called police on thousands of kids. Let me tell you exactly how many. 20,000 phone calls. 20,000 last year. This is in New South Wales, but let me tell you, Queensland is worse. Now, I don't know about the phone calls up here, but I can assure you that what is going on is a pandemic. You know what's interesting? Talking about pandemics. Do you remember the pandemic? You went out, they'd fine you. I wonder why these little mongrels, why they're not allowed ankle bracelets. Oh, I know. Because you can't put an ankle bracelet on a kid that's 16. Change the law. Oh, we don't want to hurt their feelings. This is the problem with this country and the Labor Socialist left. They're more concerned with little Johnny's feelings than little Johnny's future. They want him to be a forever ward of the state, lean on the state, controlled by the state. This is how Labor works. And I'm telling you, if Liberal doesn't sharpen up their act, you're next. And by the way, I want this to go to David Christofouli and also to our so-called Premier, Stephen Smiles. Cops in a crisis. Police have been called to schools across the state of New South Wales 20,000 times, including incidents of sexual abuse, violence involving pistols. Hang on a minute. How come the bad guys got the guns and we don't? Screwdrivers and swords. The rising tide of school violence in New South Wales has been laid bare in a dossier released by Police Minister Yasmin Catley. Now, I want to know what these ministers are doing. And of course, they say, what's this? During COVID, a lot of young people lost the ability to socialise, so they're suffering. What has this got to do with COVID? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What it's got to do with them posting right up here on the Gold Coast. One little mongrel who was arrested, posted and bragged. I could give you his name. I wish I could. I'd still got to hear from my lawyer. This little mongrel put up on his Facebook, he said, got me laughing, giggling, but I'm already back. This kid is a monster. He deserves to be put in ankle braces and behind bars. Now, many of the woke people call them children. They're not children, they're criminals. Stop using woke language. In New South Wales, 20,000. Let me give you the figures. Assaults, 2,821. Child, young person at risk, 2,748. Malicious damage, 1,190. Offences against other persons, 1,162. Break and enters, 856. Miscellaneous, whatever that is, 691. Sexual abuse, 685. Stealing, domestic violence, sexual assault, street offences. 20,000 calls to the police in schools. Well, what do you want when you got teachers more pushing an agenda than they are education and discipline? When I went to school, we had a thing called the cane. Of course, that became archaic. I'm not saying bring back the cane, but bring back disciplines in schools. The police and magistrates should be able to lock these little tyrants away. Now, the Assistant Police Commissioner up here in Queensland, I want to read you what he's got to say today. He said, and I quote, that my vision is simple. I want people to be safe and to feel safe in our communities. I'm sorry, Mr. Massingham, they're not. And they're not because the police are trying to do a great job and their resources are exhausted, but lowlifes like Stephen Miles, and I've got no problem telling you that to your face, Stephen, because when Campbell Newman was around, they had camps for these kids, but your government got rid of them all. You know why? Because it didn't fit your woke agenda. And just like Albanese, you're more interested in wokeness than you are in community safety. He believed social media, this is the Assistant Commissioner, social media was the number one reason young criminals broke into homes and stole cars. So let me ask you, why are magistrates not confiscating their phones? Why aren't magistrates asking Instagram, TikTok and all the other social media outlets to stop these kids from using it? Why are media outlets not asking for a moratorium on social media with juveniles? Why not? I'll tell you why, because it doesn't fit the agenda. Why are they not banning these kids from using it? Take away their phones. When I ran our program at Teen Challenge, you were not allowed a mobile phone. These kids should only have access to the internet only for educational purposes. But Pat, they're out there running wild. Exactly. Take away their phones, take away their ability, and then fine them if they go back. The police already know who these kids are. Mr. Massingham is a former homicide investigator who was involved in bringing triple murder a guy, Max Sicker, to justice for the brutal killings. Now, I believe that Mr. Andrew Messingham is a good guy with a great heart, and I hope he'll do the job. But let me tell you, this guy, his hands are tied, because every time he locks one of them up, another 5 spring up. Why? Because there are no deterrents. I want to ask this question, and I raised it yesterday. What's wrong with establishing centres in those COVID camps that they set up to put people like me and you away in? Number 2, why not ankle bracelet? Why not? Well, then the people know they're criminals. Exactly. It's a deterrent. And if you don't deal with this, it's going to get worse. I want to say this, and I want everyone to hear this. Boundaries do not restrict. Boundaries create a future. And because there are no boundaries, and because the legislation introduced by the Labor Party in this state, and by the way, which affects every other state, is so lax, magistrates' hands are tied. Someone said, oh, Pat, one of these magistrates had a break and enter, it'd be different. It actually wouldn't be, because they've got to do with what their bench book says. Now, Andrew Messingham says he's committed to this. We'll see. I would like those of you that could tag and send this to Andrew Messingham. He's the Assistant Commissioner of Police. I tried to call him today. You can't get a number to these people. And they're supposed to be public servants. And these guys are chasing kids down on the streets, high-speed chases. I was involved in a high-speed chase the other day. Someone is going to get hurt. And as I said yesterday, there'll be blood on Stephen Miles' hands. Superintendent Williams said that these drivers who have terrorised places are 16, 15 and 17. But here on the Gold Coast, they're 12, 13 and 14. Where the hell are the parents? I tell you what, and I want you to get this, because some of you know who these parents are. Get this out to them. As soon as my lawyer gives me the green light, I'm going to name your kid. I'm going to put their photos up here. Enough's enough. We the people must speak. We need to write to our parliamentarians, to our local members, and demand this stops. If you are in a Labor area, you need to knock on that local MP's door and demand they change the laws now. Not if Christofouli gets in, now. Ankle bracelets. What's wrong with that? I've said it before, I want to say it again. Put them in camps where they can learn with some disciplined people. And minimum sentencing. Folks, remember to lock your doors, lock your cars, keep your eyes open, set alarm systems all over your house. This is Australia. This is Australia. People left prison colonies, only enter into another one. God bless you. Thanks for listening. Can you please share this? Put this on as many community sites as you can, as many as you can. I've got a good mind to start organising some rallies around the communities. I've been thinking about that all day today, and I'm going to appeal to some of you that want us to organise some rallies right around. We will. We can march for every other cause. We need to start marching for this one. We need to start taking to the streets and demanding justice on juvenile delinquents now. God bless you. Thanks for listening.